Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with TP-Link. Today's host is Camelia, and she is their Territory Account Manager for Microcom, and she'll be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Camelia will be able to answer them at the end of today's presentation. Camelia, thank you so very much for being with us again today. We greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to what you have to share with us. I am finished for now, so please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you for having me, Julie, and thank you to everybody for joining us today. As we discussed last week, we're just going to go over the Omada solution very quickly, and then we'll do a live demo of the VG controller. So as you all know, Omada is our managed Wi-Fi solution, very similar to Unify. Within this solution, we have access points, switches, and routers, as well as our accessories. Our accessories and our unmanaged switches do not show up on the platform, but they are compatible with the platform. Within our access points, we have ceiling mount, wall plate, outdoor, and high density. High density is typically in our ceiling mount access points. We also have, I don't think it's listed on this presentation, but we also have point-to-point bridge kits available. We have 2 bridge kits that have been released this year. One goes a little less than a mile, about 1 kilometer. The other one goes as far as 5 kilometers, which is about 3 miles. We have also released a few L3 switches. Most notable is our 24-port L3 switch that has 740 watts of power with a redundant power supply slot, and our 52-port PoE switch that can go up to 1440 watts that has 2 removable hot swappable power supply slots. Our routers are pretty much the same for right now. We are working on releasing some new routers, but for now the most notable is we released our 4G LTE router. The controllers are still the same, cloud-based controllers, software and hardware. Our cloud-based license fee is still the same at $9.99 per device per year. We have released Wi-Fi 7 within our access points. We have 2 Wi-Fi 7 devices currently released. The 783 releases this quarter, so it should be released within the next few weeks. The 773 has already been released. We also, as you know, have 10 gig full fiber switches for the backbone. These are all L2+. We are working to release an L3+, which will come in probably Q2 of next year. This is our unmanaged line. As most of you know, we used to have the SG1s. We still have those available, but we are transitioning over to the DSs. The exciting news about the DSs is, although they're unmanaged and you won't be able to configure anything on them through our controller, you will be able to view them in your topology, which just allows for less blind spots in your network. We have a few of these devices released now, but we're going to eventually have a full portfolio of these devices also released. The DS switches are also more cost competitive. Here's some information about our cloud controller, as you all very well know. If there are any questions about Omada, please feel free to ask. This is just the information we have to review before I go into the cloud controller for VG. So now that we went over that, I'm going to go over the cloud controller for VG. Okay. So a couple things on here. Once you log in, you'll be able to see your controllers right here. The thing about this is that, let me move this out of my way. Right there. Okay, so with the cloud controller, or the VMS controller, you log into the web portal. It doesn't matter if you have a cloud or if you're connected to the NVR. All controllers will be viewed through this web portal or through the app. So when you open the web portal, if you're in enterprise mode, you'll have your different organizations listed here. you can then launch your organization. Once you've launched your organization, you'll be able to see how many sites you have. If you click that right there, you'll be able to specify which site you want to look at. If you go back, it'll tell you how many cameras you have on here and how many of those cameras are offline. Some of our cameras are offline. I think they're working on the system right now, so they've unplugged those cameras, but either way, it will let you know right here what's offline. When our solar panels are released, you'll also be able to see your solar panels in here as well. So on this page, you'll be able to see exactly where all your sites are located. So if you have them in a larger range, you'll be able to see exactly where they're located. Ours is obviously located at our global lab in Irvine, so that's why you see that right there. So this is what your dashboard view will look like. You can then go into your videos view. In your videos view, you'll be able to see your different sites. So this is our Irvine site, which is our US based office. So the EVG site is our global lab, which is also based in Irvine. And our US operation is this site that you're currently seeing. So you can look in here through live view or playback. You also have different viewing modes for your video. So you can either look at it as the video mode like this, or you can look at it as the cameras that you have connected. It will also show you a picture of the camera if you're not familiar with the name, so you know exactly which type of camera you're looking at. In here, you can either clear your window. So if you have something set up and you want to change it, you can clear your window. You can also configure HTML or web plugin for your video configuration. Number of screens, you can alternate between 4. You can do 1 big and multiple small, or you can do 9, 13, or 16 as of right now. This should be expanding to a larger amount in future updates of our controllers. Even if you have the NVR and you don't have, and you're using like a software versus the VMS, you'll be able to update the software to show the new changes. So like, let's look at this viewing mode. You'll be able to select, so you select your cameras from here. So I can select this guy, that guy, do that one, and that one. So this gives me a live view of all my cameras. Currently, I can also go into playback mode where I can select a camera and then I can play back the video from this camera. Playback mode is only available for cameras that you have recording. So I think for a demo site, we don't have any of these cameras recording. It's just a setting that you enable. In your events tab, you'll be able to see any of the events that you have. You can specify what type of events you want to look at. So whether it's motion, tampering, line crossing, etc., loitering, abnormal sounds, alarm, human, vehicle, etc., that's all in here. If the device goes offline, that will also be in here. And if there's an issue with the PoE, it will also be in here. So all this information is here. You can either select them all or you can select for specific activities. You can also select your source, so you can choose if you want to see all your cameras or if there's a specific camera in question you want to look at or a range of cameras you'd like to look at. You can also modify your time frame. So these are the preset time frames, which is obviously today, yesterday, 24 hours, 7, 14, and 13 days. You can also create a custom time frame if you want to look at, like, say, I want to look at the 1st to the 5th. I can also create a custom time frame like that. Your alerts you can also create custom alerts. So if you want to have a custom alert, you can select, for example, these are all the things that we saw in that toggle list, right? So we can look at, for example, motion detection, right? Then you have to select which cameras do you want. Okay, Irvine. You can do it by site, right? Or you can do it by device. So I could say, hey, I want this camera, let's say this camera, to give me information about motion detection. And then obviously I'm a recipient, but I could also add from our team other people that I would want to receive that information as well. You then can create a notification schedule, so time frame, right? You can create Monday, and then you can say from what time to what time. So for example, if motion is supposed to be detected throughout the day because people are in the office, right? For example, then you don't want to be inundated with notifications during that time. So then you can create a time frame that's, hey, like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. until 5 a.m. to have your notification schedule. You can also name the alert, so you can specify however you want to name that. You then can go into your devices tab. In your devices tab, this is where you can configure a few different things. You can look at it from all your devices, or your IP cameras specifically, or your NVRs specifically. If you go in here and you click edit, this is where you'll be able to customize certain things about your device. So in your NVR, you're able to, on the device info page, you're able to see all the information about your device, how long it's been up, its IP address, etc., how much space is left on the hard drive if you have a hard drive installed into your NVR for local video storage. You can also see your system logs and specify the type of log that you want to see, and then look at the events. In your system information, this is where you can look at your channel information and what's enabled. And then your stream information as well. What's the resolution that you have set up? What's the frame rate? What's the bit rate? Which channels they are on. If you have a hard drive installed, you can also see your hard drive information, internet connection information, and any of the events that occurred on that device. Within here, you can also see the cameras that are connected and then access for those cameras. So you can see the access for those cameras. You can also edit some information on that. So you can go in here and edit different things. I don't have full access to this site since it's one of our test sites, but you can edit that. And then you can do batch modifications of the IP, or you can add them manually. You also have device manager in here, so you can manage passwords to your specific cameras. You can also create a reboot schedule. So if you enable this, you can reboot it, every Sunday, or etc., etc. Load information as well as in here. Those are a little more complicated, doesn't really matter. For your stream, you can specify how you want your stream to be, right? What frame rates do you want, etc., etc., and what quality you'd like. And then what is the max bit rate that you want. So this depends on what Wi-Fi you have set up to ensure that all your devices stay online and continue to transmit within the capacity of the ISP connection that you have and the amount of bandwidth that you were allocated for the surveillance network. And here you can also mute the cameras if you want. So on the NVR side, if you clicked mute, right, you would have to choose the channel of what camera, and then some more audio settings in here. This just gives you a show, right, of the stream. You have some advanced settings in here as well, which we don't need to go over. And then you have some port information. You can also adjust the port settings in here. For your PTZ cameras, you'll be able to, move it around. So And then you can also adjust the speed of how you want to move it. You can also use certain presets or do control paths or patterns handle on this camera specifically, but for cameras that have that functionality, you can do that in there. You can also park your device. So if you do that, you can again set it up in here. You can also track specific targets. Storage, pretty basic, just how much video you want stored, how much storage you're allocating to that. Event notifications, you can specify in here what notifications you want for that specific device that you want to enable. Again, just change the channel to do that. Disarming information, etc. will be in here. You can also set up your network, so your mask, your IP address, etc. Any IPs that you want restricted. You can also customize the port that the video is connected to. And then there are some basic settings in here. You go onto the camera end, say, let's look at this guy. You can either move them right here to move sites. You can remove them from the site completely or move them to a new site. And here you can also edit the camera. So this is where you see the device information and the logs of different events that have happened on that specific camera. If you go to the camera itself, you can look at the image and adjust the image in here. You can also adjust the lighting mode in here. This is where you can adjust the display. And if you want to have a privacy mask, which essentially just masks the stream of the video, you can also do that within your stream. Very similar to the NVR. You can just adjust the stream information, video, audio, ROI, and there are some advanced settings in here as well. For events, you can, again, customize certain events, the sensitivity of those events, etc. Say you do this for this camera and you want to do it for other cameras, you can just copy that setting to other devices and then select devices you want to copy that to. In the system, this is where you look at upgrades if you want to upgrade the firmware. When it says select upgrade device, you can either, or upgrade file, you can either upgrade if there's an upgrade available directly on the platform, or if you want to upgrade to a specific version, then you just have to download that from our website and then upload the file. You can also reboot your device right here or create a reboot schedule for the device. And you can create a recording schedule as well, either continuous or record only for motion detection, etc., depending on your needs. In your map, this is where you're able to look at your device map, so where everything is located in here, right? And then in your design tool, this is where you're able to actually create a design. If you're familiar with our Armada platform, very similar. You can add cameras, add obviously you know where the walls are, so you just add the cameras and then it will give you the range at which you can view, so you ensure that you don't have any blind spots. The device list is right here. The cameras that you already have that you want to add are right here, and then the NVRs. You can also add new cameras even if you don't have them already in your system. And then you can specify all of these things that will all affect the viewing degree. You can also add layers, so if it's a multi-level devices, you can link to a specific location, you can label certain things. All of this is just great for your planning, and then so the customer doesn't ask you a bunch of silly questions for their information as well. You can add walls in here, but I mean, typically you already know where the walls are, so it's not really that important. You can also create, if you go into the rules, you can also create specific rules for your cameras or your NVR by selecting what type of report you want and then naming the rule, etc. For device maintenance, this is scheduled reboots or scheduled updates. If you have an event, it will tell you when those events are happening, have they happened, etc. Under admin, this is very simple stuff, right? So your organization and your site. What users have access? Do you want to remove these users or not? For your account, your own information about your account. Your log, this gives you all the logs of who logged in, when, etc., etc. How your system settings, this is how long you want historical data to be stored, right? And then if you want information for the user experience program, obviously I'm part of the company, so I don't enable this, but this is great for you to enable so that you're A, able to give your feedback, and B, we really do take the feedback. So the more feedback you give, the more likely we'll be able to support you and increase your adjust the product to take note of your feedback. And then this just gives you a thumbnail of your alarm. And then that's everything in our controller right now. If you go into here, you can look at your different organizations as well. And here you can download information, refresh. This just lets you know the time zone that you're looking at. And then preferences are right there, account right there. And then if you need a tutorial on certain things, it's right here. If you want to give feedback, it's right there. You can actually contact support directly through here as well. And that is everything that I have for you today. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them now.
Thank you so much, Camelia. We enjoyed that presentation, and it looks like I do have some questions for you. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Here we go. Can you discuss the security features included in the Omada Cloud solution?
Okay, for us to go to the Omada Cloud, I'll pull this up right here. So there are quite a few different security features depending on what you want to do. If you go into your settings and you actually open up network security, it shows you all the different features, right? So some basic things, URL filtering, MAC filtering are available right here. ACL is, for example, if you have certain IoT devices that you want to communicate through a very specific access point or a specific device. So in here, you can create those ACL protocols at the gateway level, at the switch level, or at the access point level. You just create a new rule, deny or permit. You select deny or permit, and then direction, right? So this will look a little different for gateway versus switch versus access point. And then you just input a protocol. There are a bunch of different protocols in here. So any protocol that you're thinking of, 99.9% chance it's in here. So they're all right here. Lots and lots and lots of options. The most common ones are VRRP, RSVP, L2TP, what else? TCP and UDP. I think SNMP is in here somewhere. Oh, OSPF is also pretty popular. You also have, the basics, URL filtering, MAC filtering. You just create a new rule, like I said. Same thing with MAC filtering. If you enable it, you just create certain rules in here. Attack defense is a little bit more complicated, but if you have specific attack defense, like for example, a lot of ways hackers try to attack a system is by flooding the system. So you can create flood defense in here, packet anomaly defense in here. You can select which ones you want to do. If you ever have a curiosity about information, it will give you the information with this little I button, right? So in this case, to enable these things, you would have to have one of our gateways available in your network. For firewall, these are the timeouts. So again, all of these things, attack defense, firewall, etc. IP MAC binding requires one of our TP-Link routers in the system. And then you can, if you're ever curious, it tells you exactly what it does with this little I. Same thing here. So
thank you so much. Oh, you got more, Camelia?
So There are a couple other things in here too. They're all right here, IDS, IPS, etc. And then VPN would be right here. So we have VPN, SSL VPN, and WireGuard. For transmission, this is where you can control some things within your transmission to also up your security. Okay, now I'm done.
Okay, thank you so very much for that. Next question here for you. How does TP-Link ensure data privacy and compliance with regulations in the Omada cloud?
So this is a question we touched on last week as well. We host our cloud on AWS, so everything is very compliant, and AWS is a very secure system. All other companies that utilize the cloud, Ubiquiti, Cisco, etc., they all use AWS as well. So we're just as secure as them. We do have NDA compliancy as well. And then within our standards, we're certified in all security measures. I know that it is important for there to be a physical third-party certification. So we are working with a third party who is evaluating our products to offer us I don't remember the exact name of the company, but I know it is one of the highest regarded security companies or security verification companies out there. So we're working with them and we should have that certification soon. Any other certifications for our security and compliance can be found on our website.
Thank you so much, Camelia. Next question here for you. Are there any specific hardware requirements for businesses to upgrade to Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 7?
Not necessarily, right? Okay, so Wi-Fi, it's more that the devices should be able, it's two-part. Okay, for a device to use Wi-Fi 7, it has to have the functionality to use Wi-Fi 7. I'll give you a very easy example, the iPhone, right? If you have an iPhone 15 or later, you have the ability to utilize the channels available on Wi-Fi 7. If you have an iPhone before that, you can't, Wi-Fi 7 can be there, but you can't access it in the same way. That being said, that being said, there are a lot of devices that probably cannot utilize Wi-Fi 7 at this time. However, the benefit of Wi-Fi 7 is actually twofold. Yes, devices can utilize it, but if you're ever using mesh, Wi-Fi 7 helps with traffic distribution. So having those additional channels available, A, makes your mesh network stronger as a whole because your devices are able to mesh over more channels, your network devices, which allows them to stay more thoroughly connected. And then any devices that do have Wi-Fi 7 capability will automatically be allocated to the Wi-Fi 7 channels, which allows for easier and more even traffic distribution. If you turn on airtime fairness as well, if you enable that within the system, then devices that are really old that can't utilize even Wi-Fi 6 will be automatically allocated to the Wi-Fi 5 channels to ensure even traffic distribution. Wi-Fi 7 as a whole, though, generally just gives you more bandwidth capabilities, which keep in mind is limited by the ISP connection speed that your client brings in. And then Wi-Fi 7 also allows you to future-proof. So if you future-proof, you can focus on reoccurring monthly revenue through management subscriptions.
Thank you so much, Camelia. Last question here for you. Are there any upcoming features or products that you can share with us that may enhance the Omada experience?
Yeah, so one new thing that recently was released was Omada Cloud Essential. So Omada Cloud Essential has limited features, but it's mostly the main features that, so a security installer would utilize, things like VLANs, power cycling, but has less of these more advanced and complicated things such as ACL filtering, for example, or ACL protocols, for example. So with Omada Cloud Essential, the benefit is that you're able to use the cloud and you're able to utilize the features of cloud, such as zero-touch provisioning, without actually having a licensing fee. So Omada Essential is a completely free platform that you can utilize. The only cost that you will incur is the hardware cost. The other thing is I mentioned the 2 switches that we released, the new Wi-Fi 7 that's being released. I'm not this was something released a month or 2 ago, but I'm not sure if everyone knows. We also released an outdoor switch. It's the SG 2005P. I can pull it up for you. It's the SG 2005P dash PD, and it's an outdoor switch with 4 ports PoE out and 1 port PoE in. There you are. And this is what it looks like. We also have some more layer 3 switches that will be released in Q2 within Omada. The app is also continually updating. For specific features, whoever asked that question, if you want to share your email, I can send you a list of the specific features that are coming out. I can't release that on a call like this because that information is only available to our registered partners. But if you're a registered partner, I can have a one-on-one meeting with you and take you through a roadmap to learn more about what's coming up in this next year.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Camelia, for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone for attending today's webinar. And if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown today, please remember this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel so we can all view it again. Thank you, Camelia. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate everything you've shared with us and looking forward to our next webinar with you.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me, Julie, and thank you to everybody who attended today.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Bye.